We all sleep. It's a huge part of our lives. But how often do we really talk about what sleep is, beyond just, a biological thing we have to do? So today, we're going to explore sleep a little differently. Not as something to optimize, but as this really profound personal experience. Something that actually gives our lives pleasure and meaning.
Yeah, and this really kicks things off perfectly, doesn't it? I mean, who can't relate to this? That amazing feeling of just letting go, drifting off without that nagging to-do list buzzing in your head. It's such a simple, familiar pleasure. And it's the perfect starting point for where we're headed. And this really lays out the two big camps, right? On one side, you've got what we call grind culture. It basically sees sleep as an obstacle, a waste of precious time that needs to be hacked or even eliminated. But on the other side, there's this totally different view, that sleep is one of life's great pleasures. So, which one is it?
Okay, let's start with the idea that's kind of everywhere these days. This whole concept that if you want to be successful, you've got to sacrifice rest. It's almost like our culture has declared a war on sleep. I mean, you've heard this a million times, right? CEOs and tech billionaires bragging about working 70-plus-hour weeks on like 4 hours of sleep. In that world, sleep isn't a good thing. It's an inefficiency. The whole goal is to figure out how to get by on as little as possible, all for the sake of getting more stuff done.
And get this thinking goes way beyond just pulling an all-nighter at the office. The U.S. military's research agency, DARPA, is literally funding projects to create a future where soldiers might not need to sleep at all. They see it as a vulnerability, something that needs to be engineered right out of us.
I mean, that's an incredible goal, but it really makes you stop and ask a pretty important question. If we could actually win this war on sleep, what would we lose? What's the actual biological price we'd pay for that?
Well, the science is crystal clear on this one. Going without sleep for a long time isn't a superpower. It's a complete catastrophe for our bodies and our minds. We're talking about serious psychological damage, actual brain degeneration, and that's not even counting the foggy thinking, the weak immune system. It just makes us worse at everything. Our biology is just not on board with grind culture.
And this quote just nails it. You see a lot of companies putting in nap pods, and they talk about it as recharging time. But we're not iPhones. We're not machines that can just plug in for 15 minutes and be good to go for another 8 hours. It's so much more complicated and honestly more beautiful than that. So if we're not just batteries that need recharging, then what is sleep all about? Well, to figure that out, we have to look past the biology and into the experience itself. Okay, so there's this really cool idea called everyday aesthetics. It's basically the philosophy of finding real beauty and pleasure in the simple, ordinary things we do every single day. Like making that first cup of coffee, or even folding laundry. And yeah, especially the little rituals we have around going to sleep. And this quote, wow, it just paints such a perfect picture. The author talks about remembering the smell of laundry detergent, the feel of clean, crisp sheets, that feeling of just being safe and sound. See, it's not just about passing out. It's the whole sensory experience that goes with it, all those little simple joys. And the great thing is, we can build this for ourselves. It doesn't have to be complicated at all. It's about consciously making that transition, putting the phone down, picking up a book, just letting the quiet of the house settle around you. These aren't just tricks to fall asleep faster. They're tiny moments of pleasure all on their own. But here's where the story gets even deeper. Sleep isn't just a solo activity, right? It's also this incredibly social thing. It's all about who we share that quiet, vulnerable time with. Just think about it for a second. Throughout your life, a parent when you were a kid, maybe a brother or sister, a partner, even a dog or a cat, most of us don't actually sleep alone. And that shared experience is a huge part of our lives. There's actually a term for this. Researchers call it sensual everyday intimacy. And it's all about that unique connection of sharing a bed with someone, knowing their breathing patterns, the simple comfort of just having them there. These are really powerful ways that we bond with each other. And that is exactly why the phrase staying the night is such a big deal. It's about so much more than just sex. It's this profound act of trust. I mean, letting someone be with you when you are completely unconscious and defenseless, that's one of the deepest forms of intimacy there is. Okay, so this all leads us to the biggest idea of all. The real value of sleep isn't just about feeling good or being close to someone. It's about what our very need for it tells us about being human. See, this is where we've been looking at it all wrong. We've been asking, what can sleep do for my productivity? But the real question, the better question, is what does the fact that I need sleep reveal about what it means to be me?
The philosopher Martha Nussbaum put it perfectly. She basically argues that our best qualities, things like courage, love, compassion, they don't exist in a perfect world where we have no limitations. They only exist because we're fragile, because we have needs. Our limits aren't a bug, they're the feature that makes humanity possible. And this is the big switch, the great reframing. Our need for sleep is a daily reminder that we're vulnerable. And that vulnerability, it's not a weakness we need to overcome or hack. It's the very foundation that lets us build trust and intimacy and care for each other. It's what makes us good.
At the end of the day, our need for sleep does something really important. It grounds us. It reminds us that we aren't just brains floating in a productivity app. We're animals, tied to the rhythms of a spinning planet, with its days and its nights. We are part of nature. We are not machines.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought. After all of this, the simple pleasures, the deep intimacy, what it tells us about being human, if that magic pill really existed, would you take it? And what would you be giving up if you did?